What my man say? I steal.
I should have made this a short sleeve shirt.
Check, son.
Check. 1, 2.
We are here as a deposit. Brand stew.
Down the Holland to the screen.
Stew.
Yo, you guys can start in 3, 2, go.
We are back with the Deposit That season anti-fragile special series, and there's no better individual than yourself that I thought should be our first guest to kick this off. But we gotta put on your intro song. You know when like Major League Baseball players walk up.
Oh yeah, gotta do it.
Put on a little.
Now, this old school.
Yeah.
But these young Thundercats, y'all don't know what this is.
They woke up. Are you ready? I think they played Madden. The only reason why they didn't know this. I'm playing
Right.
Madden.
I'm playing Madden.
Oh, 99, I think. I don't even know.
Might be 99.
So welcome back to Deposit That podcast. We're here today with Chuck Morris from Midtown Biohack and my co-host Malik McGee. Malik, man, welcome as my partner in the new Deposit That season.
How you doing? Welcome. Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
Chuck,
thank you for being here, sir.
Pleasure.
why don't you introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are and what you do?
Well, I am the Chuck Morris, not Chuck Norris. Even though clearly some of y'all got excited, it's all right. I am the owner and founder of Midtown Biohack, where we change lives deep down inside of your brain and pull it out, rewire it, put it back in. I've been doing this and just this for about 29 full years. We like it, we love it, we want more of it. We take science and technology, we twist it, and figure out how to pull the greatness out of people and get you out of your own way.
Talk to me about, we're going to dive into the adversity and the real anti-fragile component of life in general, your personal stories. Talk about how you personally maintain your consistency and your character. So I'm sure based on your profession and your life and your story that I know about, your character is probably often tested and your level of consistency is probably as straight as it comes.
Yeah. Well, for me, one of my great mentors, he told me years and years ago, he said, the evidence of you're willing to do something is you're willing to prepare for it. Right? So that's actually the evidence of you really want to do it is will you prepare for it. So for me in a life where the only thing that I can control is me and how I respond, that made me dig into making the decision of what type of man I was going to be and what did that take. So no matter what the circumstance was, no matter what the environment was, no matter what the interaction was with another person, I focused on I can control me and what that means. So that's my character, that's my discipline, that's my education, that's how I treat others. And no matter what the storm was or what the challenge was, I can always come back to, well, what would I do, right? No, not what you do, not what it's not so much what Jeff did to me, it's how I responded to what Jeff did to me, right? Because I don't want to give Jeff control over me. I grew up in Philly, so we had an issue with people controlling us. So I didn't want you to feel like you could control me. If I do this to him, then he'll do that. The small thing I control, which is a big thing, is me.
Can I ask this? So just diving deep into the beginning story of that, what drove you into even feeling or gaining that mindset? Was there any experiences that you had that drove that individual out of you? Was it any trauma moments, or what was something that drove you to feel and think the way that you do that, Chuck?
Before you answer that, we should have got him a medium shirt, man. His muscles ain't even popping out of that arms, man. What's going on, man? He ain't been in the lab.
I've been working with you. I'm taking my time. I ain't got the nutrition.
His own pace.
Right.
He's working on his own pace. I feel like you judging him.
Dude,
my mind's
there.
there.
400 pounds, man. My son and him wear the same shirt size. What's going on here? You know?
He on his way. He on his way.
Listen, I'm gonna get that.
He on his way.
What did the man
He on
say?
his way.
Process. I had a process.
You know? They say trust the process.
That's why I can't even see my arms.
You don't trust the process.
It's a
It's
cheat
just
code.
facts.
Right, just the fact. My mind's right.
Yeah.
My mind's right. Start with the mind. So, those experiences, what would you say molded you into that individual? Or any new, old?
Right. Well, I would have to say the first foundation is love. I grew up in a strong family that believed that we loved each other deeply. I mean, we love hard, and we love probably to some people to a fault. Unconditionally. Like if you're family, period. There is nothing else. So that was the foundation. So I saw some of the extent of what humanity could be. You know, that intertwined with my faith showed me some amazing things. Then at the same time, I've saw and witnessed horrible depravities of human experience. I watched a woman actually attempt to sell her child for drugs. The dichotomy of those two things, really, that's kind of what anchored me in understanding how far we could go, and make me decide what kind of man I really, really wanted to be. And I knew where love could go, and I knew where evil could go, and I decided that I had to love. And part of that love was going to be me taking care of me, but me also figuring out how I could change that. Like, what could I do in the world to make that woman not have that experience? I didn't know what it would be, but that's what kind of made me feel like that's unacceptable.
And what man is that? Like, who is Chuck Morris?
Oh my Lord. He is an uncontrollable act of God. That's what I tell my family, that's what my children say. I'm a husband to Summer. I'm a father of 5. I'm now a grandfather
Hey,
to
congratulations.
Samad. I call him Jack Jack.
Congratulations.
I'm a friend. I'm a brother. I'm a warrior. I'm someone that believes that any and everything is absolutely possible. And then if you love hard enough, you work diligently enough, you could literally change history. And when I leave, when it's all over, like when I'm done and I breathe my last breath, my hope is that I made people better. Like, when it's over, when the mark is gone, when my body is dust and it blows away, people are like, no, Doc, nah, he did something. So that's what I chase. He's a guy that chases the evolution of greatness, but that evolution being not about what I can accomplish for me as much as what I can accomplish to impact others. And we just do it in a way of science and wellness and health and human performance. That's just the stage that we have.
So that leads to my next question, Doc. Well, I would like to add mentor to that title as well. He's going to be very humble by that, but he mentors, and he is a great mentor. Being a mentoree, I would say he's a great mentor. But for the viewers and for the people out there, they hear this and they see your demeanor. So I gotta ask, from experience and not knowing or knowing myself and just giving them the source, what certain practices do you practice to follow your personal growth? Like, what do you practice to be able to have that demeanor that you have?
I journal at night. So when I journal, I really attempt to capture the day. What was most difficult for me that day? What didn't I accomplish? What do I want to accomplish? It helps me take my brain in society and the world and kind of wrangle it, so I don't feel like I'm all over the place. And I can identify, what I did and what I did not do. I figure out when I do that journal, who did I impact, and what opportunity do I think that I've missed? Right? What conversation? What did Jeff say to me that I wasn't really locked in, and I played back in my head like, he said this, but I think I missed it. I try to find those little teeny moments to do that. So the journal helps me. I train like a madman. And when I say a madman, it's because my working out,
Please explain.
we like to call it one of my personalities. So I have multiple personalities. If I was born in these days, I'd be on all the drugs. OCD, I got all of that. Yeah, I'd be on all. I'd be on all. ABC. They have me on everything. So the professor in me is always looking to figure out how to dissect it. How do we dissect it? How do we get better at it? And then how do we help others be better at it? And that's my Professor X. My other personality is Weapon X, the Wolverine. And that's the one part of me that says I'm an uncontrollable act of God. And that's the guy that says, I want to take myself all the way to the edge and see what happens when I jump off. So I try to encourage other people to do the same thing. How do you quantify the day? How do you quantify the experience with your children, with your business people? And then when you had that meeting with that group, did you really push the group to the edge? When we were thinking about what that problem was, did we kind of shrink back because the potential answers were going to be too challenging, or did we really go all the way to the edge and figure out how do we fix whatever that is? I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So I'm going to dive into bringing you to the anti-fragile component of this now, right? Because this is where I think people need to hear, and just so everyone can get a grasp of it. You should all Google what anti-fragile means, where it stems from, and what it is. And we're going to touch on that. But the reason why we kicked off this series as a special series heading into the election, we think a lot of people, we know a lot of people are not in a very good mental state. So this is all about, the positive that means taking one thing that they've learned from today's episode from you the expert, right? People that people look up to. Take one thing and deposit that to their brain. That's all. We're not saying look at the whole show, learn 15 different things. We want you to leave here with one thing.
Although it would be nice for you to look at the whole show.
You would rewatch it.
whole
They've got
thing.
seasons of life, right? But the whole thing is, anti-fragile comes from the ability to not crack, like bend but don't break. So I'm sure throughout your upbringing, your life, you've been facing many adversities. You've overcome a lot of stigmas, right? Misconceptions, perceptions. One thing that sticks out to me was when we were talking about, like, yeah, I'm a doctor, I'm a sports scientist, right? And you were like, someone who looks like me only is able to hit a certain level. They can't go above that. Talk to me about that particular title transition situation and how you were able to overcome that.
Generally in 29 years. So I've been doing this full time for 29 years. Pro sports, Olympics, everything. And in that world, generally someone that looks like me is allowed to be a strength and conditioning coach. We can help people get bigger, stronger, faster. That's the black that I can do. I'm not allowed to be a scientist. And I'm definitely not allowed to be a scientist who specializes in functional neuroscience. And like,
Neuro what?
no, yeah, it's like, first off, sports scientist wasn't even a thing, apparently, up until 2 years ago. No, it really was.
It's been around.
It's been
It's
around.
on ESPN. We get here.
And for me, it was challenging because, initially, because I'm a hopeful guy, I thought that I just need to accomplish the task. I needed to get whatever the degrees were. I needed to get whatever the learnings had to be. I needed to get the experience. I needed to show and prove. And every time I showed and proved, what was being proved back to me was, you're not allowed in the room. I was the health and fitness coach of the entire city of Philadelphia. I traveled internationally. I trained the women's national soccer team out in Palestine and Israel. Like, my resume, humbly, doesn't exist anywhere else. It doesn't exist.
And you were still blocked out of rooms.
Completely blocked out of rooms. Because first off, I didn't have the relationships with the club that said, my nephew gets in. Right? It was like, oh, my son gets in. And then when you push past that, it was like, oh, you're a great strength and conditioning coach. You're a great trainer. It's like, no, that's not who I am.
So they put the ceiling on you.
Yeah, this is what you're allowed to be. We're allowed to accept you as this thing. We won't accept you as anything
So
else.
rather than taking out the entire room physically, how did you channel that and then use that to build and break through that glass ceiling?
It was interesting. I really had to figure out why it was so important to me for other people to recognize what I had accomplished.
Was it a pride and ego thing?
It was the sense of not feeling like I was enough. Like, it went all the way down to me and my childhood thinking that I somehow didn't meet some other standard. And I was looking for other people to validate me. I was looking for some external things to tell me that I was worth it, that I made it. And I had to come to the conclusion that I'm an uncontrollable act of God.
And what year was this?
This was...
Last year?
What year is it now?
March 2024?
This was 2000, probably 2002.
22 years ago?
Yeah, about
Wow.
2002. Is when I really realized that.
So about 7 years into your career, 8 years into your career.
Because I really realized that I can't wait for anybody else to christen me. I can't wait for anyone else to tell me that I'm enough. I can't wait for anyone else to tell me that I'm good enough. And by doing that, I was literally dumbing myself down. And I was getting in the way of my ability to make major changes in other people's lives. Because I'm thinking about what I'm not as opposed to figuring out how do I make the biggest impact. And once I made that shift, then all of a sudden the doors didn't exist. The moment I decided that it didn't matter what anyone else thought in terms of what I could or could not do, then it became, and I literally have this, my children have 5 children. We have it almost like tattooed in our hearts, which is, if it's never been done before, like if anyone's ever done it in history, we can do it.
It can be done.
And if it's never been done, it's just because we didn't do it yet. That's how I train my children. And once I made that decision and then really figured out I want to make the biggest impact on people's lives I possibly can, and I stopped looking for anybody else, I looked up and I was in the room.
Has there ever been any moment throughout your career or life where you thought that was it, you wanted to give up, throw in the towel?
Oh my gosh.
The valley
More
of
times than I can
despair.
count. More times than I can count. We hit a reset. I would set a mark. I want to accomplish this mark, hit this mark. When I get to that mark, it'll be there. We had a few times where we've had people, some multimillionaires, steal from us. We had people come into our lab and look at all the equipment, buy all the equipment. I had so many scenarios where every time I felt like I wanted to quit, it's because I felt like someone took something from me.
Mm-hmm.
And this was
Took something from you that you thought you could never get back?
that I thought I couldn't get back, and that I thought somehow was rightfully mine.
What did you call that? Did you call that entitlement, or how would you describe that?
It's pride. For me, my interpretation was it was pride. It was the thought of you can take something from me that's really mine. That you could take something from me that I couldn't get back. And the reason why I say it was pride is because there's no information that I own. Everything that I designed, every system, every IP, I didn't make it up. It came from God. Like it was never mine. I had a stewardship over it, but it was never really, really mine. So no one can actually take anything from me because you can have it, spread it, get it out, and we'll keep going and keep moving.
Do you feel like that's where your biggest trajectory of growth came from? That was that like one of the more defining moments of your life?
And I would
Very
like
much
to,
so.
I would like to also add to that, as far as what would your definition of, and how would you separate an individual viewing as what you're viewing as it being prideful and being an entitlement moment, where you feeling entitled to, I did this, and you kind of self-righteous yourself up to that point of, are you really taking this away, or did I earn enough to be able to say I've done this?
Yeah. Well, and I think sometimes entitlement we say it almost like it's a bad word,
Negative
right? Like
connotation.
negative, yeah, it's a negative expression. There's a certain amount of entitlement that we all have. You know, just the human experience says that we're entitled to certain things, certain rights that we should have.
Based on the work we put in, or just based on being alive?
Based on being alive. So based on being alive, there's certain fundamental things that are just right as human beings. Then as I'm putting in work to better myself and to better others. So if I'm putting in work to better myself and to better others, I have a certain entitlement, in my opinion, to have a right then to find an avenue to share that with people. That's where I think entitlement is good. So, because if I don't feel that I'm entitled to do that because of what I put in and what my belief system is, then it makes it really easy for somebody to blow me off course. Because I think that everything can blow me off. No. I'm supposed to be here. This is my chair. I'm supposed to sit in this chair in this moment. No one can convince me that I should not be in this chair. I'm entitled to this chair. Now, just because I'm entitled to this chair doesn't mean I'm entitled to your chair. That's where we messed it up. I'm not entitled to your chair. I'm entitled to my chair. So when these challenges happen, again, and that's, in my opinion, a sense of pride coupled with fear of me thinking that someone can take something from me when no one can take anything from me. Whatever I have, whatever I produce, I can produce it again. And whatever I have that you want, you can have it. I hope you do good with it. But if you don't, it's not my concern. Because I'll produce it again. One of my good friends who was a client for years became a friend. He's a famous writer, song producer. He's written so many hits, it's ridiculous. He said to me, this was in 2001. We were in a session. I was training him. He said, "Doc, do you realize that we make money out of the air?" I was like, "What does that mean?" He said, "We make money out of the air." I said, "No, I'm gonna need you walk me through that." He says, "I have a thought in my head. I give it a melody, and I give it words. I write it down out of the air, and someone gives me $30,000 for it. You look at me, figure out what's wrong with me, how to fix it, put together a plan in your head, and I give you all this money for it." He said, "We make money out of the air."
Yeah, that's on a tangible product.
He said, "So, because that's the case, we don't get to not let other people make money out of the air."
Interesting.
I was like, "Well, how do we do that?" He said, "You letting people get in your head turns off your machine."
Yeah, noise. Too much noise.
Too much
Shuts
noise.
it down. That brings us into Midtown Biohack.
Yep.
We have to shout out Shane briefly.
Yes.
I don't get much love.
Absolutely.
We
Shane,
did him for like
you helped make this
$100,000
happen.
sponsorship. Right? Shane, we need an org sponsorship over here. Bring us
Right.
dough.
We love you, Ori.
Yeah. But walk us through how all these years, 29 years of your visions now come to fruition, and what Midtown Biohack not only stands for, but the modalities and components that make it what it is.
Midtown Biohack. When I first had the vision for it, and I wrote everything out, it wasn't called that at the time. We're now in Midtown, Manhattan, Times Square.
If you don't mind me asking, who was that first name?
The very
Chuck
first,
Norris Fitness.
the very first name was ETC, Elite Training Camp.
Okay.
That was the very, very first iteration of it. And when I wrote out what I wanted to do, I took it to a program and they told me this can't be done. I said, what do you mean? He said, it can't be done. You want a video, it can't be done. Here we are 26 years later, and we're here. And what did they say couldn't be done? Taking the human experience, quantifying all of it. Your brain health, your cardiovascular health, your muscle strength, emotional intelligence, your metabolism, every aspect, behavioral health, every aspect of the human experience. Quantify all of it. From the brain and nervous system out. And then once we quantify all of it, measure all of it, see where we can improve it, and then literally lay it all out in a playbook.
Butt naked.
Butt naked. It's all out there. I feel uncomfortable. It's a breeze. You feel a breeze.
Wow,
Lay it
butt
all
naked?
out there.
Okay.
And then apply science and technology to fix it. And when I say fix it, not that something's wrong with you, to optimize it.
Enhance it, optimize
Right?
it, make it better.
So how do I optimize the human being? And not just our Olympic gold medalists. How do I optimize the other athlete,
CEO.
the CEO, right? Who has the same experience, it's just mental and emotional. You don't realize that your body is responding the same way as a physical athlete. So Midtown Biohack is how do we absolutely maximize the human experience, optimize it, use science and technology to do it all, hyper-personalized, guaranteed results. We call it precision wellness. That's what we call it. It's precision wellness, and then do it in a fraction of the time.
So I hear you say this phrase, human experience, and I'm probably curious that the viewers want to know, what does that mean to you, or what does that mean in general? What does a human experience mean? Is that my everyday walking the dog, eating cereal in the morning? Is that going to therapy? What is a human experience?
To me, the human experience, it includes a few things. One is my actual soul, my consciousness, right? So I'm experiencing the world with my memory, my imagination, with my intellect. I'm experiencing the world with what I can touch, what I can feel. I'm experiencing the world with the senses of other people, like how to, as a citizen, how I communicate. So the human experience is taking away the compartmentalization of my time here on Earth. So all the aspects of what I feel and what I think all count when I'm interacting with people.
Okay.
So I don't get to sit here with you and only hear. No, I see, I feel, I touch, I think. So when we're thinking about optimization, we need to think about the totality of your experience. So practically, what does that potentially look like? It's not just an eating plan. No, what's your metabolism? It's not just getting stronger. No, what does your nervous system say? It's not just sleeping better. No, what's your recovery? Right. So the whole human experience is all the aspects that go into you. We can now measure all of it and improve all of it. So the human experience is everything together. So you're not piecemealing like Legos and they're missing a part.
I love it.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So with you saying that, I'm inclined to ask, have you ever had any failed human experiences that are, because you seem very inspired and very calm and ease, but I'm only questioning this because I feel like everybody that has that level of peace goes through the most trauma or the most things to be able to find that peace within themselves. So my question to you is, what is that one failed experience that either humbled you, that forced you into this lane? Because I know we asked earlier what got you into this, but I know sometimes it takes that one fall down forward to get back up. So what was that human experience?
This was not in the notes.
No.
They throwing stuff in there. None of this was in there. None of this was in the
You're
notes.
sweating a little bit more.
Right, yeah.
That was two swipes a minute.
They got a little more. my guys tell me they're gonna figure out who's gonna play me in the movie. So
Denzel.
Wesley Snipes.
he's like, that's my guy.
Wesley, right? It is,
That's
right?
my
Blade?
guy. That's-
Blade?
Yes. Ooh, come on.
They're coming out with new ones.
Passenger
right?
57. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'll tell you. I'll give you one. There's been 3 life-altering scenarios. Only one where I actually doubted the existence of God. Traumatic experiences in my life. 3 major. I mean, I had a lot, but 3 that just like turned to shit. If that makes sense. I was sick. Had a blood poison in my body, and we didn't know what it was. And I was sick for a long time, and I began to lose weight. People thought I was just trying to lean out. I was
Always leaning out.
Yeah, I was like, no, I was not just leaning out.
That's not it.
To make a really long story really short, I had what's called advanced juvenile periodontal disease. Ultimately, what happened was there was poison and toxin in my jaw, and it was so much poison in my jaw that it was in my bloodstream, and it was when we went to physicians and my blood toxicity level was through the roof. Well, part of the problem with all of this was it attacked my nervous system, and slowly I used to have to take 3 turbo shots to be able to drive from my facility home, which was a 22-minute drive. I was so fatigued, I would fall asleep standing up training people. Like standing up and fall asleep. So the chronic fatigue was one of the side effects of my body just wasting away. So we're trying to figure out what I got to do, and they're telling me what we have to do, which is a major issue of how to deal with this. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'm reading my youngest daughter a book, and I'm looking at the words, and I know I see the word, but I can't remember what the word is.
Oh my God.
And at this point,
Scary moment.
scary. So at this point, there had been other things, but it was slowly, so the cognitive was beginning to break down. So at this point, my next thought really is, okay, I'm about to die. And I begin to picture what my wife, my children, like,
How do they do it that
yeah, like what that's gonna look like, dude. And I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. I'm like, this is how it goes. And my wife, dude, I'm telling you, my wife, like God woke her up, literally rolls over. It was like 3:30 in the morning. I had put my daughter to bed, and I'm just sitting on the edge of the bed, 3:30 in the morning. She rolls over and puts her hand on my back. We didn't have any conversation. She literally says to me, "You got it. It's all right." Put her hand down, rolled back over, went back to sleep. And in that moment, I said, God, I appreciate that. Because she woke up. And I said, all right,
Gotcha.
we got it.
Got the message.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we got it. And that next morning, I went in, we had to do surgery. It was, they had to put 5 pounds of bone back in my jaw.
Oh.
They had to reframe. And the physician said, we don't understand why the poison is not in your heart. You should be dead. So it's stuff like that that makes me say, all right, I'm not so amazing that I'm still alive. Me still being alive is, in my opinion, clearly because I have a whole lot more to do. Right? I'm not just one single person.
Open missions.
Right? Like it ain't. I tried to go home. He was like, no, it ain't over. Get back.
Slow down.
Slow down.
Take your time,
You don't have
brother.
time. You don't
Take
have
your
time. No. So that was one, and it was that one was so challenging because it was so long. I was sick for a year, and nobody knew. Like 3 people knew: my pastor, my wife, and the sickness. It was killing me.
What kept you going every day, getting up in the morning?
My wife and my kids. Well, no, my wife, my kids, and my clients. God honest truth. If I didn't have all of those people that I felt like I had to show up for, I don't know if I would have been able to show up.
She did for others.
Yeah.
So, I'm obviously the youngest co-host that Jeff has ever had. So
Only
please-
co-host, not youngest. Co-host. You fit
I'm
all
only
the
one?
titles.
Right.
Yeah,
So
The only
yeah.
y'all
co-host.
see that now. I'm out, baby. Nah. So I see you. Yeah. You had a heartwarming moment with your speaking on your wife. So I would like to just give her some support and some attention in that field. How could you explain, or how could you put into words that feeling of getting that woman's touch during that time, or that love from her? Because I hear you speak on love. What was that love? How did that look like from her during that tough period of time to get you through what you went through?
My wife is the natural manifestation of God's love for me. Period. My wife is. I told her, listen, when we die, I'm still with you. She said, no, you're not. I said, I'm still talking to God about it. You know what I mean? I'm negotiating.
Right.
My bride, I call her my bride. My bride is. When I wake up in the morning, I open up the one eye, I look over there. She's still there. Winning. Because I don't understand. There is no rational reality that says that we should still be married. It was sheerly her saying, I love you. And we ended this. She had 4 different times where by any regulation, she should have just tapped out like, all right, it's been real.
Tried my best.
Yeah, gave it a go.
We did
Gave it a
not.
college try. That woman is amazing. And her ability to say, you can do it. You're not doing it by yourself. And hurry up and get it done. Like, that's...
All the confidence you need.
Yeah, it changed everything. The fact that I never had to fight when I came home. When I came home was, hey, catch your breath. This is what's going on here. This is what we're doing. So let's deal with that. And then what do you need? And she's like, whatever direction we're going, I'm in. And she has shown improved every single time. It's hard to put into words.
We're going to take you a direction, obviously by doing this, look, we all get benefit from it.
Right.
Collectively, individually, people watching. I want your audience and your audience to share what you guys know and think about me and why you guys chose to be a part of this. And also, what anti-fragile means to you.
I don't show up everywhere. I do not, and not in any rude way, disrespectfully. I don't take every invitation. We're not getting any more time. The God's not giving us any more dirt. So I don't waste either. For you to make the request, I considered it an honor, first off. And the reason for it, I'm going to act like he's not here for a moment. I've been
You want
around.
to turn the camera?
Right, yeah, just turn the camera.
You don't want to catch tears. I
turn it
ran
that way.
out of tears over the weekend, so.
The reality of it is, I could probably count on 1.5 hands in 47 years how many men that I've met like you. And consistency and vulnerability and the desire to improve people, and with the aggression and the tenacity of, you may not want to hear it, but you need to. And what wraps all of it together is your true humble state that people can take a different way. But you are truly a humble man. And the bow on the top of it is, as much as it might irritate you, you freaking know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're actually right. It's actually correct. It's valid. So for you to ask me to come to help support what you're doing, to help your people see the kind of people you're around, it's an honor. And anti-fragile to me is everything that we're talking about, right? Anti-fragile doesn't mean to me that it can't be broken. Anti-fragile to me is a choice that it won't be broken. Because anything of value can be broken. So anti-fragile to me is a conscious choice to do what's required to not break. And that's, to me, that's what anti-fragile is.
Appreciate that.
No.
Appreciate that. Can you up that or no? You want up that or no?
That was good. That was really good.
No, you just be you.
Well, first I would say it's a pleasure because this is my first episode, Anti-Fragile Scissors. Please subscribe. I would say, for one, I would have to thank you. I would have to thank you and Dr. Chuck. I mean, you and Dr. Morris. Chuck Morris. Dr. Chuck Morris. I would say I'm not an individual that's impressed nor do I get excited about much unless it's like a real true, I feel it in my bones, being spiritually inclined and also being willing to do a lot and be open-minded. I would say you are, and Doc here, both have, in a lack of a better words, risen my awareness about myself. And to speak on the truth of what he's saying, of you always wanting to show the better half of everybody around you, or also connect you with somebody that could better you, that's something that many people don't have the ability to do. And it being a part of my field in which I have to find trustworthy and reliable people, for you to find me was something that was new. I never had, well, I have had people want to get in contact with me and want to, because of who I'm around, but you were adamant on me meeting Dr. Chuck, and not only just that, but you sharing the information. So, growing up in the Bronx, you always hear this word OG. That's why I text you OG. Because OG to me does not mean just an original gangster. It means somebody offering game. And you're willing to always offer game. That's why I look at Dr. Morris as my OG as well, and as a mentor as well, because they're offering so much game that you can't buy. You can't buy the stuff that you guys telling us. You can't. I mean, yeah, you could read it in books, but unless you got somebody really willing to take you step by step, a lot of the challenges that you have in life, being 27, being a young entrepreneur, being a human, having that human experience, if you don't have much guidance or limited amount of guidance, you're just out here as a lone wolf. And no matter the talent, no matter the people you know, you always somehow need that guidance to, where am I going with this? Or have that spoken out loud to, hey, this is what I want to do. And somebody just, all right, let me polish this up for you guys. And for a long period of time, I've been just doing what I got to do, but no polishing. So to have somebody like, nah, you have something on your hands, you're special, and to show me my value rather than just be like, yeah, let me show you and benefit. No, like, you guys showed me. So for me, that's something that you can't put into words, you can't really describe. And you giving me the opportunity to be a co-host, to bring in the people I know, to meet new people, to just be better and be that person that I envisioned in my head. It's just, you can't thank somebody enough. That's why I started off with thank you both, and thank you in particular for giving me the opportunity and seeing something special in me. But just know, I'm a hungry individual. So, if he's hungry,
I'm going to turn it back on why I asked both of you to come. So I think the first thing is, obviously, I admire you and respect you. I think one thing men in today's society fail to do, for whatever reason, is look at other men as threats. Forget about age, wealth, demographic, color, sex, whatever, right? You know, some men aren't even men, right?
Right.
But the reality of it is this, right? Like, we're only in competition with one another in a friendship to make each other better. So the more you make me better, the more I need to make you better. People look at you as, oh, Chuck can't be more successful than me. Chuck can't have more money than me. Chuck can't know more people than me, right? And like, I've never been cut from that fabric at any point in my life. And I've lost a lot of money proving that I believe in that concept, right? So, you know, I admire who you are, your consistency. I admire, you're like the big brother / father, because you act a lot older than you really are, but you're like the big brother I never had. And I have plenty of big brothers in my life, and I think that, you know, relationships with people are, teachers show up when the student is ready, right? So I think in that component of life and season of life that I was entering in or coming out of when I met you, like, that was divine timing. There was no secret about it. You know, if you lay out all the cards, how they fell into us meeting, cards should have never fallen. Like, in the past 4 years alone, I could have given up 674 different times just in a 2-year span. There's only 365 days in a year, right? So the reality of that is, you know, why I wanted you to kick this off with, like, setting the tone, setting the mindset, and also your ability to truly help people, because people are going to need your help, you know. And it's the reality of, if you're willing to invest in yourself, like, you're the best option. Forget about the drinks, happy hours, bullshit, steaks. Like, invest in your health, because your brain, your nervous system, all that, that's the only thing that's going to get you to the other side, right? Sure. And then my young buck over here, you know, I try not to curse as much at this age, although I still let it fly. I passed that on to my son. I think he lets it fly now. Now I got to reprimand him.
He's going to have his own episode, though, Jay.
Yeah, man, he's going to be here. He'll be sitting next to us soon, you know. The reality is, I'm going to be blunt by saying this, you know, I wish people paved the path for me and opened up the hole for me to hit. Part of me does. Someone's bothering me in the way. Someone's leading us. The reality is, I'm grateful that nobody paved the path for me, because now I have the ability to help pave a path for others to expedite their success and teach them along the way, right? If I open a door for you and, like you said, you know, run and just jump off a cliff, you don't know any better.
Right.
I can not only open the door, make sure that door is off the hinges for you, and hold your hand and walk you through that door, and one day just slowly let go and you keep walking if you know what's ahead of you. So I think in life, you know, a lot of people like to say they put people on. I can't tell you, by the time I was 30, like 7 different people, men, oh, I made you know how many business I gave you, how many deals we did. And I'm like, first of all, my mother and father made me as far as I know. Maybe not, I don't even know, like, this is what I'm told at least. But until I prove otherwise, I have a mother and a father, and they made me.
Right.
I don't believe in making people, right? And I think so many people, because I'm so young and impressionable and like looking for guidance and looking for people to admire and be like, right, in a very lonely industry, I was tired of hearing people made me. Like, you didn't fucking make me. I just did a deal for you based on my experience, based on my sacrifice that no one else could do. You made me $7,000, right? And paid 50% tax on it. But you made $42,000, right? So who actually, like, let's compare that here, right? I think just the reality of it is, like, people today need to come together. I think people need to see 37-year-old white guy, 27-year-old black guy, 47, 48-year-old guy,
47.
27, 37, 47, like sitting at a table as friends. I don't care about who you vote for. I care about like who you are as a person, right? And the reality is, you could have your own thoughts, and unconditionally, I respect and admire you for them. And I think that that needs to be like the primary focus of today's world we live in, right? We all come from different backgrounds, beginning human experiences, but the more we're sitting at a table together and agreeing to disagree, or saying, you said to me one time, like, what if Jeff is right? Or like, you know what? I respect him and admire him. Let me hear why he thinks this way on this topic. Today's world, unfortunately, boxes everybody into a corner, one side or the other, and it's not what I'm about. And I think the reality is the only way we all, as a society, get through what's coming, this storm, mentally, economically, socially, right? Financially,
It's coming.
you know, the only way to get through it is by being around good people and having that one person that, you know, you don't want to let down. I can tell you again, many times I could have given up, thrown in the towel, but I got people that not only rely on me, but, you know, count on me for putting money in their pocket and, you know, put food on the table for their family. And I think the more we have a bigger picture purpose collectively, the more we inspire the younger generations to like work hard and like, yeah, you know what, nothing is guaranteed, but showing up every day, yeah, that's something that I think everyone needs to take to the next level. So as we close up the episode, and we went a little bit over, which is always great, what's one thing you want the audience and listeners to either instill in their brain, to deposit that, or one thing that you want them to remember you as? You only get one deposit.
Right, I would say you don't have to worry about remembering me. So the deposit is the care that's required for your brain and your nervous system. Like, yeah, we have to wake up to it. We have to wake up to the importance of this controlling everything else.
What's one way you can help people do that?
Midtown Biohack.
Wow.
That's
it. It's a wrap.
That's a
Season
wrap.
1, episode 1, done.
Rinse due.
Right. That's it.
Good job. That was great.